Earlier, we uncovered that technologies crafted decades ago still find use in today's battlefield. Analysts suspected the enemy might be sourcing vital components through hidden channels, or relying on long-stored reserves from former factories. This twist adds a layer of irony, relics from a past era fueling modern warfare. But what happens when one such system falls into our hands? If our forces manage to seize one advanced artillery system, it's likely others exist out there, silent giants still in operation. The enemy's reliance on outdated yet reliable Soviet parts reveals a critical vulnerability. Replacing these aged components isn't as simple as swapping a chip, it demands reworking entire circuits, leading to extended downtime and soaring costs. Reports warned that shortages in spare parts could severely hamper repair efforts, especially if supply lines are narrow or compromised. Experts also pointed out that these systems probably aren't isolated cases. The weaknesses we find might ripple through the entire arsenal. This logistical Achilles heel exposes a strategic opportunity. Knowing it lets us anticipate enemy moves and disrupt their operations before they even begin. Our teams realized that maintaining these machines requires specialized skills and tools, tied closely to warehouses still stocked with decades-old inventory. This dependency opens doors for targeted electronic warfare. Imagine jamming signals tuned to the archaic frequencies of these old microchips. Forces once thought obsolete could become the enemy's downfall. Tactical recommendations emerged swiftly. Develop devices that disrupt Soviet-era electronics embedded in their gear. Simulations showed that exploiting these faults could cause system failures right in the heat of battle. The enemy's fragile supply chain magnifies these risks. Interruptions in parts deliveries could cascade into widespread malfunctions, tipping the scales in our favor. Our strategists also emphasized training frontline units to identify and capture such valuable trophies. Each seized system becomes a treasure trove of intelligence and a stepping stone toward crippling adversary technology. Could these hidden weaknesses unravel the myth of an invincible foe? And if one system was caught, what secrets lie in the others? The hunt for answers continues, with every discovery reshaping the battlefield's future. What will tomorrow's revelations unveil? Amid the dust and chaos of battle, a twist of fate had led to an astounding discovery. Our forces had stumbled upon a forsaken but sophisticated piece of artillery technology, one that the enemy had heralded as a groundbreaking innovation. The very kind of weapon they claimed was unparalleled in its capabilities. But what lay before us was a tangled web of the old and the new, an echo of past conflicts, enticing yet perplexing. Why had it been left behind in such haste? As the engineers inspected the machinery, it was evident that despite some electronic components being removed, much of it was surprisingly intact. Even more puzzling was the unmistakable impression that this system hadn't just been left, it had been abandoned under pressure. It was still partially operational, hinting at possibilities yet to be uncovered. What secrets did this technology hold? What weaknesses could we exploit? With meticulous care, the team began to evaluate the system on-site, ensuring all mines and dangers were cleared. The excitement grew. This was no ordinary capture. It was akin to unveiling Pandora's box, filled with strings of data and elaborate mechanisms. The exterior of the unit dazzled with high-definition digital interfaces, intricate markings in foreign languages, and compact components boasting advanced materials. However, as they delved deeper, reality shifted. A shocking revelation awaited. The internal workings contained a blend of antiquated Soviet microchips and state-of-the-art technology. Everyone expected uniform modern components, only to find relics from an era gone by. Seeming almost like a tactical joke. Why were these outdated elements embedded so deeply in a supposedly advanced weapon? This unexpected twist sparked curiosity and suspicion. Had the enemy run out of options, forced into a corner to salvage what they could, or were they still relying on yesterday's solutions? With each layer peeled back, the truth revealed itself, a hybrid born from necessity. Components from the Cold War era were resurrected, having been seamlessly integrated with modern tech, yet it raised an important question: was the enemy truly as advanced as they claimed? The intricacies of this configuration would demand a detailed study, a deep dive into capturing tactical weaknesses, analyzing how their reliance on old tech could unravel the enemy's current capabilities. In the comes the twist. As we began to simulate operational scenarios in controlled conditions, it became evident that the once heralded system began to falter. What was once thought to be revolutionary revealed its flaws: delays in response time, systems that required manual activation, and an alarming dependency on those antiquated Soviet chips for essential functions. Could it be that in their quest to appear invincible, they had simply painted over vulnerabilities we could exploit? The implications were staggering. If an illustrious arsenal could crumble under the weight of age-old technology, then perhaps their entire facade of superiority was built on shaky ground. We had captured a piece of the enemy's narrative, now poised to undermine it. Secrets buried in this artillery system could redefine the battlefield. What other relics of the past might yield hidden truths? How far could we push this revelation into the realm of our advantage? The journey ahead promised layers of intrigue, revealing not just their technology's weaknesses but also the fabric of their operational psyche. What further secrets could we unearth? Perhaps this was just the beginning of understanding the enemy, and ultimately turning the tide in our favor. Imagine uncovering a high-tech artillery system, touted as revolutionary by the enemy, only to find it's a patchwork of old Soviet parts and modern elements barely holding together. What if their cutting-edge weaponry was just a fragile illusion, crumbling under pressure? This discovery didn't just expose a machine, it revealed a hidden vulnerability that could change the course of battle. Previously, we saw how captured enemy equipment blended new tech with relics from the past. This wasn't an isolated case but a clear pattern in their military industry. Many of their systems masked weaknesses by mixing modern components with outdated ones, a fact with huge strategic implications. Now, if the enemy truly depended on Soviet-era parts, what does that mean for their future capabilities? Those old stockpiles would run dry sooner or later, making repairs nearly impossible. Cut off supply lines, and their sophisticated gear would rapidly lose combat readiness. During the technical analysis, something caught the engineer's eyes: signs of desperate field repairs. Scorch marks on wiring, uneven solder joints patched in the heat of battle, temporary jumpers in the power supply. This system wasn't pristine, it was barely clinging to life thanks to tireless maintenance crews. One module stood out: the navigation block. Inside, alongside ancient microchips, were adapters forcing incompatible standards to work together. Imagine a rickety scaffold holding up a fragile facade. These band-aids kept the system running but introduced critical vulnerabilities, weak points ripe for exploitation. The final report was sobering. The true effectiveness of these systems was far below the glowing claims. Experts recommended developing electronic warfare tactics that target these old modules, shutting down entire units by exploiting their technological patchwork. This intelligence reached top command and was recognized as a game-changer. The captured system wasn't just a trophy, it was a window into the enemy's broader strategy and industrial struggles. It shattered the myth of their technological superiority, revealing a reality propped up by propaganda. Could this revelation turn the tide? If their so-called advanced weapons falter under pressure, what else hides behind their polished exterior? The story of one abandoned system might just be the key to unraveling an entire military illusion. Previously, we uncovered how a single captured weapon revealed not only technical secrets but also exposed the true state of the enemy's military industry. The myth of their revolutionary technology was largely propaganda. But what lies beneath that facade? Could it be that their so-called advanced systems are just a clever mask hiding outdated tricks? And if so, what vulnerabilities wait to be exploited? The truth is this: beneath the sleek exterior, their equipment often conceals ancient components and worn-out designs. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, appearing modern, but at its core, relying on decades-old technology patched together hastily. This means these systems have weak points, hidden cracks in their armor, waiting for the right moment to be shattered. Imagine peeling back the layers of a high-tech machine only to find relics from a forgotten era, old Soviet microchips, weathered wiring, and mechanical parts that have survived years of storage. These elements, though functional, are relics struggling to keep pace with today's demands. The enemy's haste to adapt and keep production alive forced them to mix the new with the old, creating fragile hybrids rather than true breakthroughs. This revelation changes everything. It means their frontline equipment isn't invincible. It's vulnerable to disruption, especially when modern electronic warfare tactics target those outdated modules. What seemed like cutting-edge marvels can be crippled by exploiting the very patches that keep them running. Could this be the Achilles heel that turns the tide in future conflicts? So, the question remains, how long can such a patched-together system hold up under pressure? And what if the supply of those old parts runs dry? The enemy's reliance on these fragile lifelines might one day backfire spectacularly. This story of a single captured system unravels a web of hidden weaknesses, promising a strategic advantage for those who dare to look deeper. What if a cutting-edge weapon hailed as unmatched by its creators was found abandoned on the battlefield, intact but mysteriously altered? During a recent offensive, our forces stumbled upon just such a prize, a high-tech artillery system, left behind in haste by the enemy. Despite some electronics missing, the system appeared largely functional, its mechanisms primed as if waiting for orders that never came. This discovery was more than a trophy, it was a potential key to unlocking enemy tactics. Our teams carefully swept the area for traps and hidden dangers before moving the device to a secure location for thorough examination. Engineers on site meticulously documented everything, from its sleek outer shell to the intricate specs, sending reports to command. As they extracted the system, it became clear the enemy hadn't anticipated our rapid advance. They failed to destroy or evacuate this supposed revolutionary weapon, opening a rare window into their technological secrets. At first glance, the outside told a story of sophistication: digital control panels with vivid high-res screens, foreign markings, and compact modules crafted from lightweight alloys. Precision-guided mechanisms hinted at automated, finely tuned operations. But the closer the engineers looked, the stranger the picture grew. Beneath the polished surface, something unexpected was hidden, something that challenged the weapon's proclaimed origin and design. What secrets lay buried inside this high-tech puzzle? The truth was about to unravel in ways no one foresaw. What if the enemy's most hyped, cutting-edge artillery system wasn't as flawless as everyone believed? During a daring offensive, our forces stumbled upon a startling prize, a high-tech artillery installation, abandoned in haste. This was no ordinary find. This system had been touted by the opposition as a revolutionary marvel, unmatched anywhere else. Yet, abandoned like forgotten treasure, it stood almost intact. Some electronics were stripped, but the core remained surprisingly operational, mechanisms primed, not drained or sabotaged. It was clear the enemy hadn't planned for such a swift advance. No time to destroy it, no chance to retreat with the prize. Our experts arrived cautiously. The air was thick with tension, every wire and panel was a potential trap. Mines? Traps? None detected. After a thorough sweep, the system was carefully hauled away to a secure zone, a rare chance to peer behind the veil of enemy technology. Up close, it was a blend of sleek modernity, high-res digital screens, compact modules crafted from advanced materials, and a lightweight alloy frame that implied precision engineering. Automated aiming mechanisms gleamed with mechanical promise. But beneath the polished surface lay secrets that made the initial wonder twist into suspicion. Inspection began with fresh eyes. At first glance, it looked like a perfect high-tech weapon: sophisticated digital interfaces, commands displayed in crisp foreign lettering, and modules whispering of advanced manufacturing. But when engineers peeled back protective covers, the unexpected emerged. Components inside clashed with the sleek exterior. Promised cutting-edge circuitry mingled with old designs. What was supposed to be state-of-the-art bore traces of forgotten eras. This was more than a mere weapon, it was a riddle wrapped in metal and silicon. How did such an advanced system depend on relic technology? What desperate compromises had been made? The discovery wasn't just a trophy, it was a glimpse into the cracks beneath the enemy's show of strength. As our team documented every detail, capturing images and specs for command analysis, it became clear, the enemy's revolutionary masterpiece was also their potential Achilles heel. Now, the question hung heavy in the air: what truths awaited in the deeper layers of this enigmatic device? Amid the intricate dance of war, an unexpected find emerged from the chaos. Our forces stumbled upon an advanced artillery system, a stark contrast to the dilapidated remnants that littered the battlefield. This technology, once hailed by our adversaries as groundbreaking, had been left behind in a hurried retreat. Scavengers of war often overlook such treasures. What stories could this one hold? As engineers gathered to assess the machine, they quickly realized it was not merely a modern marvel. Despite some disassembled electronics, the core components appeared ready for action. Shockingly, the system still held a charge. Could it be that this abandoned relic, a blend of the old and the new, offered a glimpse into the enemy's weaknesses? Upon thorough inspection, what lay beneath the surface astonished everyone. Crisp lines of wiring and sleek circuits housed decades' worth of secrets. Modern chips coexisted with components dating back to the Cold War. In a world where time marches relentlessly forward, here lay an anachronism, planned for the future yet rooted in a bygone era. The careful integration of these older elements spoke volumes. Each connection was made with transitional adapters, ensuring accuracy in signal transmission. What did this blend of technologies signify about the enemy's current state of affairs? As the team worked diligently, they encountered wiring crafted to Soviet standards. The cables, with their distinct insulation, still performed their duties impeccably. Dust and wisps of history lingered in the air as they noted the aged gears and bearings. Retrofitted into a cutting-edge system. These relics bore marks of decades of storage, yet they operated flawlessly, stabilizing the entire mechanism. What if the unexpected truth revealed a vulnerability? The discovery of Soviet-era modules embedded within a supposed state-of-the-art device suggested desperation on the enemy's part. Had resource shortages driven the foe to reach back into their archives for salvaged components? Systematic analysis continued, but the stakes grew higher. Every detail, from manufacturing codes to the module's commands, suggested a deeper narrative. This wasn't an original design but a hybrid, an advanced facade shielding the remnants of vintage technology. Was the enemy struggling to adapt, or were they simply preserving a forgotten legacy? The implications ran deep, stirring questions among the engineers. If they could capture one hybrid system, how many more lay hidden throughout enemy territories? Would the continued reliance on outdated technology lead them to collapse when under pressure? Each forbidden thought beckoned them further down the rabbit hole of uncertainty, teetering on tension's edge. What would be the enemy's reaction if they discovered their secrets had been uncovered? The answers lingered just out of reach, like the fading echoes of a forgotten past. In the previous analysis, experts confirmed that the Soviet components weren't merely embedded in the system, they were essential for its operation. Without these chips, several functions failed to activate, especially the signal processing units, which relied on older chips for data synchronization. Now, as the engineers connected the system to simulators, a shocking revelation unfolded. They detached each circuit board, scrutinizing every connection. It became evident that removing the Soviet components led to failures in targeting and command transmission. This indicated that the inclusion of these outdated elements wasn't incidental, it was crucial for the system's stability. Using oscilloscopes and spectrum analyzers, technicians diligently measured signal parameters. The results were astonishing. These vintage microchips outperformed expectations for technology of their age. They provided remarkable resistance to interference, making the system reliable under field conditions. Days of meticulous examination revealed that without these specific components, the system lost a significant percentage of its functionality, casting doubt on its proclaimed revolutionary capabilities. This discovery ignited further investigations, including simulations of operational scenarios. It was uncovered that some of these chips had originated from factories located in territory controlled by the enemy after the Soviet Union's dissolution. Decades later, they had returned, this time as components of enemy weaponry. The historical context was pivotal in comprehending the significance of the find. Experts meticulously analyzed markings and serial numbers, cross-referencing them with archived data. The factories producing these chips had once specialized in defense electronics and continued operations following geopolitical shifts. Discrete components, dated from the 80s and 90s, emerged as indicators of supply delays in modern systems. Analysts speculated that the adversary might have acquired these components through intermediaries or by tapping into old stockpiles. This situation was laden with irony. Technologies developed in one era were now being utilized in conflicts of another. The revelation raised urgent questions. How many more of these hybrid systems exist? If the enemy was relying on old yet dependable Soviet parts, replacing them could present a significant challenge to their operational readiness. The implications were thoroughly examined in intelligence reports. A shortage of components could hinder production repairs, especially if their supply chains were compromised. As discussions unfolded, the possibilities multiplied, leaving experts contemplating the ramifications of their findings. How far had the enemy strayed from true modernization? And what other hidden vulnerabilities lay beneath the surface of their advanced weaponry? The air buzzed with anticipation, as every answer raised more questions, hinting at deeper layers of deception surrounding their technological capabilities.